Welcome back to the Style Journal, where style is beyond the aesthetic. I'm your host, Dr. Tucker, and today's focus is cosmetology stapler prep. The service that we're highlighting today is your permanent waving service. So, the rater will instruct you, please begin your permanent wave service. You're going to first sanitize your hands before going into your kit bag to retrieve the bag labeled permanent wave service. When you take that bag out, please be sure to close your kit bag immediately before proceeding to set up your table. So as you can see, I have everything I need here. Okay, my mannequin head is saturated with water, and you're going to do a chemical drape first. So you're going to place a neck strip, of course, around her neck, and lay it flat, and then you can just tuck it to secure it. Okay. You have two towels, one of which you want to hold portrait or vertical. Make sure that when you drape this over her head, that it comes a little bit past the frame of her neck. Okay. Towel number two will be held landscape or horizontal. And you want to take both towels and bring them around, and you can tuck this one neatly that way, just to hold it in place. You want a chemical drape, waterproof. And because of the situation here in terms of the configuration, you can place this on this way where the long part is hanging towards you. Now, because the neck, the circumference of her neck is small, you want to be sure to have a little clip. Now, this clip will ensure that it will stay in place for the duration of your service. Okay. Now, you want to then pull your first towel over so that you have this protecting her as well. At Staple, the main objective is to show them that you are putting safety first. Okay. So now you want to undo the clip in her hair, taking your all-purpose comb, comb all of the hair straight back. The first section you want to part is the mohawk. Okay. You want to take one of your perm rods, and I would recommend that you undo all of your perm rods prior to the stapler test, because that's one less step you want to be concerned about. Also, you're only required to put at least 6 rods in the hair, but I have a few extras just in case one falls on the floor. There are little spaces between the textured area on these rods. You want to be sure that the sectioning that you are following, the section that is the furthest to the end, do not use the end of the rod as your guide to part. That's too wide. Come in a little bit right in the midway section of the furthest section of textured indentations here on your rod. Okay. So now you want to hold this right in the center using that section that I just pointed out as your guide. And you want to part, this is the outer part of your mohawk. Okay, the most important thing is to keep the hair saturated so that when you're parting, the hair will stay in place. Be mindful also, and this is at Stapled or in the salon, when you're saturating the hair, You want to be sure that you're not spraying back here because you don't want water all over your mirror. Okay. So I'm just going to lightly clip that out of my way. Now I'm going to hold this here again, making sure that the width is accurate. And the goal is, if you can do that in one swipe, then that is fantastic, or one motion. That way you can ensure that you get through these partings rather fast. And you don't want to focus on speed, though you are timed. Okay, so now we have our mohawk. The second section you are to focus on is the side section. Still using your markers here. Be sure that you are not taking and undo your clip. While in beauty school, you may have a rod that has actual mark on it from a black magic marker, just so that your eye is trained to where you're supposed to focus. Please be sure that all of your rods are unmarked. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, I'm doing my partings in one motion. The more you practice, you'll feel what I call muscle memory. Okay, so now we have our mohawk, our 5 sections. Now, the only thing left to do is to create the last 3 sections, and you're going to do this by taking this right across the bottom. Please also keep in mind that these sections don't have to be super duper neat. They just want to see that you're able to make the 9 section partings in a reasonable amount of time. Okay. Every section does not require a clip. For example, the last 3 sections in the back, this one is free, so that's fine. They're still separated. Okay, so now we're ready to apply our rods. The way in which you determine how wide the subsection is by using the circumference of your rod base. So you want to place that right at the hairline. And now I can use my tail comb for this. And you can tilt her head back so you can see. Okay. The other most important thing is making sure that whatever base you're using, right now I'm going to use the on base. So that means I am holding the hair 180 degrees away from me. And please do not forget to keep the comb in your hand. You want to place the end papers. I'm using the bookend method. It doesn't matter what method you use. Just make sure that the hairs are in those end papers as you are rolling the hair down to the base. Keeping the same tension is very important. Okay, rod number 2. Okay, and her hair is drying, so I can go ahead and spray her hair. You want to keep that hair wet. Still placing my rod, making sure my subsection is accurately parted. See how much easier that hair is rolling because it's nice and wet. You want to make sure you keep that rod, or the hair rather, nice and wet. Okay, rod number 3. Okay, rod number 4 or 5 rather. You can utilize these catches here for your extension of the rod to hold that closure in place. And now for our last rod. Still holding that hair at 180 degrees. And make sure the tension is even. Okay, now it is time to apply your protective cream. And go ahead and place your gloves on. I like to do this now so that the gloves are on and out of the way. You could place the cream with your hands, but this way you don't forget to put your gloves on, okay? Because that's what they're looking for. Okay, so this protective cream is going 2 places. It's going around her hairline, the entire hairline, and around the section in which you've just rolled. After you do that, you're using your mock waving solution. Before you do that, you want to take cotton and place that around the rods so that that solution does not run onto your client's face. You certainly don't want that. Okay, now we're ready. for the waving solution. Now, please be sure to go over this rod a few times because she has pretty long hair, and it means that solution has to penetrate all of those layers of hair. Okay? Okay. That is 90% of the permanent waving solution service. Now, the rater will come over and ask to see a test curl. A test curl is the way you determine how well the hair is processing. So you take one rod, I would suggest the one that's closest to you. You want to undo it and you want to take it out just a few rolls, and then when they see it, and then you can roll it back. And now you're done. The permanent waving service. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And remember, style is more than the aesthetic.